Welcome to another tutorial on MATLAB. In this tutorial series, we are looking into the MAAB guideline, which stands for MATLAB Automotive Advisory Board guidelines. So these are the guidelines that are being developed by automotive experts, which is more related to model-based design. So in this tutorial series, we are looking into different chapters related to the MAAB guideline. So it will be very difficult when you try to go through the entire document and try to understand everything. But in this tutorial series, it will make your understanding more clear and more crisp so that you can also revise it on time. And this will also help you to develop the main intention on how to create any model-based design. So in this chapter, we will be seeing naming convention. So let's see what is naming convention. So suppose you have ordered something online and you have received your order. Your delivery guy is on the doorstep and he is asking you some information to deliver you the order. In this case, the delivery guy is asking you different informations that is need to be there for the order. So in this case, he will ask you your name and your order ID or something like that. So by giving the names, so by giving the order ID and your name, you are confirming that this is your order and you will receive it. So naming convention is somehow similar to this. So with the help of proper naming convention, you will be able to identify your files. You will be able to identify the folders in which your entire project is there, and inside the model also, if you give proper names to your subsystems or your model block names, so it will be more easy to understand everything inside the model, and this will give you a clear picture like how the model is designed and also what is happening inside the model. So suppose if you are adding two blocks, then you need to mention like this is doing the add operation. So something like that need to be there to have a proper modeling naming convention. So suppose you add a add block, then in that case the block name should be add. It should not be like multiply. So such things should be there to identify it that this is doing this operation, and this will help also the developers to understand what is the model is about when they are trying to share it with some other developers. And whenever they develop the code, then it will be also more easy when they are coming back again to the model. Then it will be more easy to read and it will be clear what they want to develop further. So this is a short example like how this is more related to the real scenario. Now let's see like what is this naming convention tells about. The naming convention tells about how we should give name to our files. So how we can give a proper name to the files that we have. Along with that, it will also guide you like how you can give proper naming to the directory in which you are creating or the project folder that you are creating. So that is the second part. And next is adaptation of naming convention. This is somehow more related inside the model what is happening, like some add blocks like I mentioned the previous example. So that comes inside this one, and then this is the overall part. And coming to the file names, so in case of file names, I have divided it into two segments where I will be using these two rules most frequently. So I have divided these two rules for easier understanding. So basically these are not exactly divided into the different rules, but in the MAAB guideline document, but it is somehow defined from my side. So coming to the naming convention for the file, so if you see, the first is general rules for namings. So you need not to use any underscore at the beginning of the file name. So the file name should starts with some alphabet, not with underscore, not even with space, and not even with any digit. So these should be followed as a general guideline. And when you are using two words and you are connecting them with some underscore, so you can use underscores, but you cannot use a double underscore in between the names. So that is one naming conventions that you can follow. And names should be unique for the file names. So this is related to all file names that we have in the model, that we have in the project file or folder. And in this one, this is related to the general rules. Now coming to the suggested rules. So the suggested rule should be like give some meaningful name to the files. Like if the file is related to some operations, like you have created a function file that will do addition operation. So you need to give a relevant name to the function file, which will be helpful for the reader to understand how the function file works. Next, using standard acronyms and abbreviations. So you no need to use the entire name. Suppose the entire operation that you are doing inside the file is too much, like it is doing many operations, then you can use acronyms and synonyms for the same or different abbreviations, so that it will be more easy to recognize what is actually happening. And you can use engineering units also, like kg and Newton meter, something like that, so that it will be more readable for any physical quantity inside the file name. And use memory types, like suppose you are using RAM or any ROM memory, then if it is relevant to that operation, then you can use such type of naming convention inside your names for the files. Use the data types, like if it is needed, you can use different data types names in the file name, so that it will be more easy to understand the file from the name itself. So this is how related to the file names. So the file names should be designed using these two rules that we have. So the first part is the general rule, which is must followed when you are complying with the MAAB guideline. And the suggestion, the second rules, set of rules, those you can you have the freedom to choose what to do. Next is coming to the directory names. So you have directory names. So using the directory names, you can do check for invalid model folder names. So the previous one is related to file name checks, so which you can see like check for file names in the model advisory check. But here, if you want to do the check for the directory names, then you need to select the check for invalid model folder names in the MAAB guideline checks, which we seen in the previous video. Coming to the directory names, then again the general rules and the suggested rules will be same as the file name. Yeah, that is all about the directory names. And now coming to the adaptation rules. So the adaptation naming conventions is divided into multiple segments, like subsystems, input port and output port, signal names, Simulink, and Stateflow names. So these are the naming conventions that need to be followed for all these. And there will be specific checks, like for subsystem, check subsystem block names include valid characters. So this is a check for subsystems. And for inputs, you can have input and output. Check port block name includes invalid characters. So this is the check for the input output validation for MAAB guideline. Then signals. So for signals, you need to have a check, that is a check character using the signal labels. So it will check all the labels of the signals that are there in your model. For Simulink and Stateflow, there will be no model advisory checks available. These need to be taken care by the developer itself. So coming to the rules, so all the general rules that are mentioned and the suggested rules that are mentioned for the naming convention need to be followed in the all the creation of subsystem, input output blocks, and signals, Simulink and Stateflow. Along with that, we also have a block related thing, like suppose if you have any block, if you have any user defined or Simulink block, then in that case you will have this block related naming convention. So for this, you have a model advisory check as model check block characters uses. So how many characters are used in the model and what are the characters that are used in the model, that is being defined in this block related things. So this is model advisory check. So coming to the rules for input and output, so these two rules will be followed. And yeah, so there are some additional rules for the signals. So for signals, no space will be there. Like if you have two names, like two words for a name, then do not include any space. Do not include any keyword for the signal, and do not use NA or not a number or double underscore in the signal names, and do not use the new line character. So suppose you have given the name and you press enter, again you are giving the second name. So like you have a word called main function, so main you written first and then press enter, then you typed function. So such a type of implementation is not applicable inside the MAAB guideline when you do naming for the signals. Then coming to the Simulink and Stateflow check. So here use descriptions in the property dialog box, and this has no impact on the code. So suppose you have created a model in which you want to give some information, so that information you can give either in the namings of the signals or the blocks using some acronyms or abbreviation. But suppose if you want to give the detailed understanding of the model that you have developed, then you can use annotation blocks or description block, now which will be more descriptive, and you can get a detailed overview of what is being developed inside the Simulink model. So it is a better way to give the descriptions in the MATLAB model using the annotation blocks. So all these are related to the naming conventions that are related to the MAAB guideline. And for files and subsystems, directories, import, output, signals, and Simulink, Stateflow, and blocks. So those things will be applicable for the MAAB guidelines. In the next chapter, we will be looking further into these topics. So in case you are liking the channel, please consider subscribing. In case you have any comment or query, please let us know in the comment section. This will be helpful for us to develop good content that will be valuable, and it will also help you to have better experience in this channel for learning MATLAB. So have a great day. Happy learning MATLAB. Thank you.